Well, absolute devastation for Tim Tszyu here in Orlando tonight as Bakhram Murtazaliev seizes his moment, the biggest moment of his career. Sean Porter, Peter Badel, I think we're all in a bit of shock by what has just happened. Where did it go wrong for Tim?
You know, the opening bell. I saw Bakhram come out and pop his jab, and he did what I told you guys Tim was going to do. I thought Tim would be the guy moving to his left, circling, and using his range. And I know you see a reach difference or this disadvantage for Tim, but it doesn't matter. I've out-jabbed everyone that I've been in the ring with. Everyone that I've been in the ring with has been taller and longer than me. It can be done. I thought he was going to do that. He didn't do that. I think that that's what happened. I think they came out with a different style than what the Tszyu camp expected. And I think it just started to unravel from there.
You know what concerned me? I thought Tim was a little bit arrogant early. I don't think he earned the right, and we see this left power shot from Murtazaliev, which was magnificent. I don't think Tim earned the right in this fight to dominate. Yep. I mean, he just thought he could walk him down. And to me, when we fought Mendoza, I mean, he took his time with Mendoza. He was watchful early, and then in the third and fourth round, he started to apply the pressure. But in this fight, he tried to almost bang early, and Murtazaliev landed 3 and 4 times. You can see here from the shots. What about the heavy hand, Sean? I mean, this is a devastating loss for Tim Tszyu.
That serious power coming from Bakhram Murtazaliev, power that I saw, but again, I tried to articulate this earlier, that it was the opposition that I felt made him look like a better, stronger fighter than he was. And typically that's what it is. On your way up, you aren't fighting high caliber opponents, and they're not able to stand up to it. I thought Tim would be able to, but again, you guys go back and watch the fight, I'll tell you what to analyze. Analyze the body language, which you saw. Yeah. The body language of Tim Tszyu was very arrogant, was very, I'm coming after you, and there's nothing that you can do about it. What happens when you're like that and you're standing upright, you don't have your shocks. That's what the legs act as. They act as shocks. So when they're bent, you can take the punches a little better than when you're standing erect. Standing erect is all chin, it's all head, and you don't have anything that can kind of stabilize you from those punches. So when I saw that, that to me was a clear sign of how the night could have gone. And the other thing too was Tim was pulling straight back, and I knew that's a recipe for disaster for any fighter.
What about the mental side of things? Because early on he thought that cut had potentially opened up, and as Ben Damon said in commentary, he was so quick to fear the worst. What does that tell us about the impact of the Fundora fight? Well,
you know, that's that car crash that I told you guys about a little earlier. When that crash happens, you have instant PTSD of what previously happened, you know? I thought he was going to touch it, he was going to see that it didn't bleed, and it was going to give him confidence. Nothing to worry about. I won't focus on that anymore. But, you know, those are things, again, when you get back in the car and you start driving, you never know when it's going to happen. And that's the thing with boxing. You never know what can happen.
That rang alarm bells for me, Sean. I mean, it was almost like muscle memory. I mean, the moment he gets a head clash, he thinks I'm bleeding. And that to me, suggested some psychological scar tissue from Fundora. But for me, I'm shocked at how Tim fought that fight. He's normally such a great executioner, and he's so disciplined with his boxing IQ. But I thought tonight, his brain went out the window for a brawn. And you don't fight fire with Murtazaliev. Yeah. I think it was the wrong tactic. It was a tactical blunder, and now the ramifications are significant. This is a career, not career-ending, but seriously damaging for his prospects moving forward. He goes way down the pecking order now.
I just thought he'd be agile tonight. Agile is what you need against a Bakhram Murtazaliev. Great jab from Bakhram. I mean, and great punch selection from him. He did a terrific job tonight, but he did it against our guy. He did it against our guy, and we don't like that.
Well, before we talk about what it all means for Tim, let's go back to round 2, because this is when the damage was really done, Pete.
Absolutely. Look, I thought Tim landed some decent shots in the first round, but then Murtazaliev here just poured on the pressure and walked forward, and that left hand there, that's when I think Tim realised he was in a bit of trouble. And I was actually surprised, Sean, at the power of Murtazaliev. I knew he had it, but to that extent, I mean, that was a barrage, and it was a Murtazaliev masterclass and a mauling that Tim will take some time to recover from.
Yeah, people talked about me not having a lot of knockouts in my career. I had a lot of knockouts early in my career. A lot like Murtazaliev. As you step up in competition, the punch resistance is supposed to be much higher than what Tim showed tonight. But again, you look at the body language, you look at the body positioning. He wasn't in position to take those kind of shots, and I think that also added to the impact.
So
of the
who
punches.
does that fall on when you think about his game plan?
You know, I think overall they should not have tried to fight fire with fire. Seems like that was what came into the ring to do. That's his style. That's what he does. I get that, but I felt like moving and turning and using the jab was the right thing to do. You put that on coaching, but once you get in the ring, there's other things like your body positioning, things like that. Your muscle memory should be there. So you put that on Tim. Bad muscle memory.
Can I ask you, Sean, where does he go from here? I mean, I know one criticism of Tim is sometimes he's too centre line, that his head movement isn't good enough. Where does he go from here? I mean, how does this damage his confidence against the big dogs?
Woo. This was a heavy one, but he's a fighter. You know, fighters don't like to lose, and we don't. He's a really positive guy. He's not going to focus on the loss. I think it's going to take some time for him to get back, come back in front of your fans, your people, and give them a show and get back on the horse. As far as him getting back to world contention, not sure. I would love to see him have a fight or two at home, maybe a fight, and get right back in it. When you've been there to the top, you're a step away from getting right back where you were.
It's so tough. I mean, you sort of go back and you think all the big names we've been talking about in the lead up to this fight about who's next. We've talked about Crawford again, Lubin.
I just saw
Spence.
Lubin, and I said that didn't go the way you expected it to go, did he? And he seems to not have a problem with who ended up winning this fight tonight, you know. So you're right. There were a lot of names that we were looking at.
But once again, do you think were we getting too far ahead? Because that's what it felt after Fundora. We talked the long game. Maybe it was, too much too soon.
Well, Megan, I think this sets Tim back 2 years. I think he now looks at a potential domestic fight against a Michael Zarafa, but his confidence has to take a knock after 2 losses now, and it's not going to be easy to then get back in the winner's circle. That's the first step. But then beyond that, even if he gets back in the winner's circle, can he really threaten against the Crawfords, the Spencers? They'll be watching this and thinking, we've got this bloke covered. And that's the concern. When the psychology is there for a fighter to think, I've got his measure, you face a pretty big hurdle.
Absolutely. I think for Tim, it's all about nourishing the mental and the psychological and the emotional aspect of this. The other side of that is I have to respectfully disagree with you, P. I get it. You feel like it takes 2 years. Can't afford that.
Yeah.
Doesn't have that kind of time. He was right here. He's got to get right back here, So, again, that's what we're fighters. This is what we do, Again, and he just fought, 7 months ago? So, for him to get right back as soon as he did, he's in the ring before Fundora. Fundora was the winner. Fundora didn't have the cut, did he? So you need to be rewarded for what we do. We entertain and we fight. He entertained tonight and he fought tonight. He needs to be rewarded, not 2 years. That's not a reward for the work that you put in.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose thinking back when you got back in the ring after a loss, what could have been some of the things that were playing on? I mean, if we are thinking it's partly a mental thing, what could have been some of the things that might have been playing on his mind once he got into that fight and things didn't go to script?
I don't think that it was the previous fight. I don't think that the Fundora showed up in this fight. I don't think that there was debris from that fight that showed up and determined how the outcome of this fight was. I don't think it determined how he performed tonight. I simply think they underestimated what was in front of them, and that's the unfortunate thing that you could do, because any given Sunday this happens, and then you don't look like everyone expects you to look, and now you got to just re-answer all those questions all over again.
Do you take a bit of time away? What do you sort of do after this? I mean, he'll want to get back in the gym as quick as possible. We know what Tim Tszyu's like, but is it, do you need to step away for a moment? What do you do?
Take some time away. Take some time away, decompress. You do that win, lose, or draw. You decompress, but the other thing too, now I'm reminding myself of how busy he's been in the last 3 to 4 years trying to get here. He's put a lot of focus, zeroed in on trying to get here. It didn't go the way he wanted it to go against Fundora. He didn't get off of the horse. He stayed on the horse. I'm getting right back. I applaud it, I appreciate it, but I think that it is now time for him to take some time away, decompress, get some space away from it, and come back rejuvenated and ready.
Well, I think too, Sean, when I look at Tim's repertoire, he's got the power to be a force, but I still think there's probably some technical things that he'll probably work on, he'll analyse in the coming months. Head movement, and also I just think he didn't set up this fight in the early rounds. I don't think he earned the right in any way, and I thought looking at his body language, he got a shock with some of the power from Murtazaliev. When he felt his jab early on, I think he thought, oh, I didn't expect that. So I think from here, Sean, it's going to be a long road back, but let's hope he's not finished. Yeah. He's a warrior, but he's got a lot of work to do.
Gents, great to get your thoughts as always. Not the result we were expecting. I think we all feel a little bit deflated, but
I'm definitely deflated.
Yeah.
Are you Australian these days?
Yeah, I'm 100% Australian.
We'll have
Tim's in the ring. I am. I like him.
But we'll follow Tim wherever he goes next.
Absolutely.
And no doubt he'll come back bigger and better from this. Pete, Sean, well done as always. Thanks very much for this week and tonight. Thanks very much for your company back home in Australia. We'll see you again very soon here on Main Event. For the rest of your day, have a great one. Thank you.